first got my hands on the Kickstarter-backed Mighty No. 9 after it released for Steam PC at 10 AM on June 21st. Not trying to nitpick here, but I play 100 games in a year, and I'm used to having a game at 9 PM the night before when it is released at the same time on the East Coast. After a quick search on Twitch.tv, I learned it was in fact released for the PlayStation 4 at 9 PM the night before. But whatever, I'll let bygones be bygones. For now. Having not backed the Kickstarter campaign myself, I was prepared to just have fun and enjoy a game from an industry veteran responsible for decades of Mega Man. And for the record, Keiji Inafune is not the creator of Mega Man, but was arguably the most influential figure behind the franchise. For this review, I played Mighty No. 9 via my PC using an Xbox One controller. First booting up Mighty No. 9, I was greeted with a familiar city level that is extremely reminiscent of Mega Man X. After a still frame, unanimated story and some cheesy dialogue, I was off to the races. With my new little blue bomber, it was immediately apparent that this is a faster game, being prompted immediately to use my new Accelerate to collect power from weakened enemies that I destroyed using my blaster. Accelerate acts not only as a means of finishing off weakened enemies, but also as a form of in-air dash. It was lots of fun. The first level ends with a rather weak boss, but that made sense since this was just the beginning. The first problem I had with Mighty No. 9 began with the cutscenes following the first level. See, a game doesn't need to have cutscenes to be great. Dark Souls proves that. What it does need to do is maintain the attention. Unfortunately, as soon as the levels end, the story is told using lifeless character models and terrible voice acting. It completely disconnected me from any story being told, which kind of sucks since I wanted to care for these characters and now couldn't. This is a game for platforming and special weaponry though, so again, I let it go. After a suggestion from user Manning Slane in my Twitch chat to switch to Japanese voice acting and retro soundtrack, much of the pain was gone. By the way, it should be noted that the soundtrack was okay at best till I switched to retro. Once I did, the game felt and sounded so much better. What followed within the game was a standard Mega Man-like experience with 8 boss levels to choose from displayed in an order from Mighty No. 1 to Mighty No. 8. I went in an order for half and then switched it up and went in a different order for the rest just to see if anything changed. What I did really like about the levels were that if you did them in a secret correct order, not 1 through 8, you got help from those bosses in the level where their power would be a weakness to the end boss. Not only do you get help from the mighty number that is helping, but the mighty number also has dialogue and is featured within the level running around in the background smashing bad guys. Was a nice addition. What I did not like was that the levels are mostly pointless enemies in succession that can almost all be skipped within the entire game. I found that after having died once, I could mostly skip and dash straight through each level to the end without much in the way of any significant challenge. This was the first sign that I was playing a game meant for 8-year-olds in 2016 and not one made for 31-year-olds after having scars from the 8-bit generation. While the levels were a bit bland, I did find that they were at least fun to try and go as fast as possible to the end level bosses. This brings up the next aspect of Mighty No. 9, the bosses. It is your job in Mighty No. 9 to face off against 8 other bots that have been corrupted. Sadly, I was able to effectively break more than 3 of these bosses by spamming my Buster Shot within a close range and defeating them before they could do enough damage to me. My favorite 2 bosses were Dynatron, which was electricity, and Aviator, which was flying. These were the only 2 bosses that I found with actual gameplay mechanics requiring thinking, precision, and timing. These were the only 2 bosses that I found with actual gameplay mechanics worthy of a Mega Man game. Other than these 2 bosses though, the bulk of Mighty No. 9 was pretty simple and straightforward without the need of anything more than simple platforming or any form of any skill. It was a little disappointing given that Mega Man is known for its heart-crushing difficulty in certain games. I think one of the saving graces of Mighty No. 9 was the difficulty spike following the first 8 bosses. While going from a simple platformer to an unforgiving one is to a detriment in this case for pacing, I was grateful for the difficulty spike. The final 3 levels and the final boss were the hardest in the game. It was by no means as hard as Mega Man X's final boss, however it still was a testament to what could be done with this game. The final boss was far and away the best part of the game, utilizing platforming, precision, timing, and just a little bit of luck. To me, it felt closer to Mega Man than any other part of the game. Since its release, I've seen a lot of disappointed people criticizing this game for many reasons. I can definitely tell you that even though it felt polished, it felt like half of a heart. In my opinion, Keiji Inafune bit off more than he could chew by creating a game across as many platforms as this game released on. It's no wonder why it had 3 delays, seeing as how it released on, or is releasing on, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation Vita, Wii U, Nintendo 3DS, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Steam, Linux, and Mac OS. That's a mouthful. If I have one wish for future Kickstarter games, please polish your game and release it on one platform, then port it to others. Mighty No. 9 suffers from spreading a great idea too thin and thusly not allowing it to thrive in its own right. Not to mention the rumored sequel, anime, toys. Just make a game. It was a promising first start, but in order for this to be a future franchise, I feel like more focus will be needed. At just over 7 hours of a campaign time, Mighty No. 9 is not a bad game by any means, and for $20 it is extremely worthwhile. It just isn't the great game we wanted, and instead is a hopeful good game with promise. Here's hoping it gets a sequel. I give Mighty No. 9 a 7 out of 10.